The Philadelphia Flyers present the National Hockey League Stanley Cup quarterfinal playoff round between the Flyers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tonight's action brought to you as another major event in the Schaefer Circle of Sports by the people at Schaefer, who invite you to go get a Schaefer and say, "I'm Schaefer people." By Girard Bank, the bank that brings you the best in sports and the best in banking. By Tasty Cake, bakers of delicious Tasty Cake cakes, pies, and cookies. They're all the good things wrapped up in one. By Philadelphia's other winning team, your local Ford dealers, who will remind you that for 76, stay with the winners, Ford and the Flyers. By Geno's, the restaurant that gives you freedom of choice with great tasting burgers and Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Flying all the way to the Stanley Cup.
Leaf Gardens in Toronto. It's Game 6, the quarterfinal round between the Flyers, defending Stanley Cup champions, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Good evening, everybody. Don Earl along with Gene Hart and Ted Lindsay. And tonight, the Flyers, Ted Lindsay, can wrap up the quarterfinal round and get set for whoever may be facing them in the semifinals either Sunday or Tuesday.
Well, Don, in the last game, all the hoopla and notoriety, I think it had emotionally the Flyers upset. Watching them in the warm-up tonight, they seem to have that Flyer confidence. Perron looked sharp. The players were shooting that puck well, passing it around crisply. So I think they'll be back to their game right from the start. I certainly hope so.
Jane Hart?
We have one of three series here tonight. Toronto back against the wall, down 3-2. The same, Los Angeles hosting Boston on the West Coast, and Buffalo in the island. So all three semifinals could end tonight. We'll have scores for you of one game as we have our one on tap here, and we'll have the opening face-off after this.
Successful businessmen don't wear commercial banks right off the rack because off-the-rack solutions don't suit their financial needs. At Girard Bank, we understand that people like you, people who know how to manage a business, need a bank that can fit a money plan to your borrowing, investing, and cash flow profile. A money plan that's not only comfortable and wears well, but suits your personal style. Girard is that kind of bank, the multi-banking bank, and we think businessmen like you need a business bank like us.
Geno's, the people who give you freedom of choice on delicious burgers and Kentucky Fried Chicken, now have a special deal for hockey fans. With the purchase of any Geno's sandwich or Kentucky Fried Chicken product, you can take home this Bobby Clark autographed pen and pencil set for just 75 cents plus tax while supplies last. Come to Geno's this week. Enjoy Geno's great burgers or Kentucky Fried Chicken and this nifty pen and pencil set for just 75 cents plus tax. Geno's gives you freedom of choice.
Imagine the single best tasting beer you've ever had. Now imagine that every beer since then has tasted exactly the same. What's the point? Schaefer people get that consistent great taste because Schaefer's Croissant, brewed twice the old world way since 1842 to give it a consistently fresh, crisp taste, Schaefer after Schaefer.
Go out and get a Schaefer and be Schaefer people too.
You know, for every dollar you pay in to Blue Cross and Blue Shield, they pay out an average of 95 cents in health care benefits. You see, they don't have stockholders to pay. They don't have to make a profit. As a matter of fact, they were started back in the 30s to keep families like yours and mine from being priced out of the health care market. And if they didn't exist today, I think they'd have to be invented.
We're on your side.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, Gene Hart along with former Detroit Hall of Famer with the Chicago Blackhawks, Ted Lindsay, and Don Earl. This is to advise you, in keeping with FCC regulations, that Don Earl, Ted Lindsay, and I have been selected and paid by this station and the Philadelphia Flyers. Darryl Sittler, the heart of this offensive Leaf attack, has picked up just 6 assists in his 8 games, and his line has not gone as they have through the season. The Leafs must get more scoring also from Balaket, Botet, and Williams, and from Neely, Ferguson, and Weir. They just can't rely on that one line. The other two have checked well, but have not scored at all. Our referee is Wally Harris, the linesman Ron Finn, along with Claude Béchard. And the sellout crowd here, 16,485, standing for the playing of the Canadian national anthem. playing the Canadian national anthem. Once again, our officials, Wally Harris and Ron Finn, along with Claude Béchard. Our goaltenders, Bernie Parent, who is 3-2 in the playoffs. Over the regular season, he was 6-2-3 with a 2.34 goals against. In the playoffs, he's now 2.40. Wayne Thomas in his 9th playoff game during the regular season, 3.19 goals against. In the playoffs right now, he's goaltending at a 2.83. His record is now 4 victories and 5 defeats. So we're all set. The Clark line against the Valaquette line. For the first period, let's go Flyers and let's go Don Earl.
Thank you, Gene Hart. Flyers going from left to right here in first and third periods. Jack Valaquette for Toronto against Bobby Clark in the faceoff. Clark drives it back to Jim Watson across the way, off the stick of Barber. Stopped at the Toronto line by Boreas Salming, picked up by McIlhargey. Taps it down the left lane all the way to the goal line to the far side of Thomas. Salming up off the stick of Sittler to center ice. Valaquette can't control. Picked up by Jim Watson. Rips it off the right wing boards to the Toronto backboards. Picked up there by Salming. Checked behind the net by Clark. Reverses direction around the left side. McIlhargey keeps it in. Backhands it to Clark across to Jim Watson. Closing left face-off circle. Shot deflected to the backboard. Barber taken down, and we have a high stick violation, not a 2-minute minor variety. We'll have a face-off to the right of Wayne Thomas. Don't forget that during every Flyer game, each Flyer that scores a goal receives a free case of Tasty Cake. And for tonight's game, one for West Jersey Hospital. The same goes for every shutout by a Flyer goalie.
Watson tried to hold that shot away from the sliding body of Salming, but still he got a piece of it deflected over the net. Tipped by a high stick in the face-off at center.
Face-off controlled inside the Toronto zone. Turnbull up at the line to Valaquette. Drops it back to Salming. Salming out to center ice on the left wing. Fakes the shot. Cuts inside of Leach around Clark. But we have an offside call by linesman Ron Finn against the Leafs.
Ted Lindsay, when you played with Red Kelly, and he was an all-star defenseman and forward, what kind of guy?
He very even-tempered. Probably the worst word he ever said was gosh darn. Very competitive fellow, and one of the few hockey players that played just about as well with his feet as he did with his stick.
Face-off outside of the Flyers line. Mel Bridgman's line on, paired with Lonsbury and Dornhofer. Puck goes all the way to the Flyers backboard. Good enough around behind his net to DuPont on the left. Deflected to center ice by Lonsbury for Bridgman. Bridgman across the Toronto line. The drive wide short side. Karam's to the right wing side. Drive by Goodenough. Glove save and batted away by Wayne Thomas. Puck comes in the slot, but Bridgman had his head turned the other way, and it comes all the way back the far side to Moose DuPont. In the zone was George Ferguson. Carrying in from outside was Scott Garland. Offside call, Toronto.
Larry Goodenough is leading the Flyers in assists with 5, and the youngster really come into his own.
Very aggressive hockey player, and of course the experience that he got last year has helped him tremendously, and with McClish out of that lineup, you need good work from those young fellas.
Face-off control by Salming. Down his right wing boards behind Parent in the Flyers net. Goodenough picks it up there. Slam by Scott Garland, but gets the puck up to Lonsbury on the left wing. He's at center ice. Deals it off to Goodenough. Fires to the left wing corner in the Toronto zone. Rebound handled by Salming. Salming bumped by Lonsbury. Puck comes loose. Bridgman goes for it. Lonsbury back to DuPont. Drive kicked out by Thomas and cleared to center ice. Here comes a 2-on-1. Ferguson with Garland. Ferguson's drive stopped by Bernie Parent, and it rolled right up his chest protector, and he gloved it to tie it up. Goodenough flipped from the side, and he deflected himself right into his own net.
Here we'll see the save by Parent and the effort by Goodenough coming right back as Parent covered up on that rebound. Goodenough slides right into that net. Fortunately, did not get hurt at all. But Parent showed his sharpness there, Gene. That rebound bounced up off his pad, and he very alertly gloved it.
We just talked about Goodenough, who did not make the safe play.
Draw, back to Sealing. Left point, kicked out by Parent on the drive. Selesky left wing, flips it backhanded to center ice for Kindrachuk. He's broken up at center by Alexander. Now it's Bladen on the right wing, dumping it to the Toronto right wing corner. Thomas reverses up the near side for Errol Thompson. He's bumped by Selesky, tied up there for a face-off, and it will be in the circle to the left of Toronto goaltender Wayne Thomas.
Just wonder how many times you can talk about Oak Kindrachuk, 74 points. He doubled his figures of last year. A free agent from San Diego. With all the dearth for players, you think, how could they let him go?
One of the most deceptive players in the league, Gene. Every time I see him, he amazes me with what he does.
Face-off control by the Leafs. Sealing out the right wing. Lead pass to center ice for McDonald. Drives from the red line. Glove save off the mark to the short side by Perron. Drops it out for veteran defenseman Joe Watson. Tried to feed Selesky up the far wing. Got by him. Alexander shot almost handcuffed Perron, but he did kick it out. Control by the Leafs. Thompson shoots way wide. Rebound handled by Kindrachuk on the left wing boards. Up to center ice. Kindrachuk across the Toronto line. Pulls up there. Dumps it to the left wing corner. Selesky bumped by McDonald. Gets it to Schultz. Schultz tried to throw it out front. Deflected back into the corner by Sealing. Puck intercepted by Kindrachuk. Gets it to Selesky, but is pinned to the far boards by Claire Alexander. We'll have a face-off in the circle to the right of Wayne Thomas. We've got 17-16 remaining in first period play. There's no score.
Ford or Chevrolet? Compare family-size cars. Ford LTD is rated to tow a half-ton more than Chevrolet, has 16% more trunk room in back, and a family-size LTD has more passenger knee room in front. Ford LTD with 19% better mileage ratings than last year, and Ford's quiet ride, yet sticker priced about the same as a base standard Impala. Ford LTD, everything a family car is for.
Ford means value. See your Ford dealer's complete value lineup now.
Face-off will be to the right of Wayne Thomas. Flyers going with the LCB line against the line of Jack Valaket, Dave Williams, and Pat Boutet. On the face-off, it goes to the Leafs backboard, picked off by Borja Salming. Salming out the near side, kept in by McIlhargey. He battles for it. McIlhargey pins Dave Williams to the near side boards, and it's called for face-off, still in the Toronto zone.
Underneath the Leaf bench, Red Kelly has a pyramid, a metal pyramid that he says gives his club strength. What did Jack Adams keep under the bench at Detroit, Ted Lindsay?
When we used to have hot weather in the playoffs, he bought oxygen. Never was a metal pyramid, and I don't know what it can do, but we will have to wait and see, Gene.
I'm told it is derived from the old Egyptian pyramid, from which was derived strange powers. Well, maybe some of the powers will come across the other side of the ice. Off the face-off, it's Leafs controlling, but kept in by McIlhargey. Now comes to center ice for Valaket. Valaket, right wing for Boutet. Boutet rolls it in on Perron. Glove save, and he holds on as he slid out of the crease to tie it up and prevent a rebound. McIlhargey coming up high with Dave Williams after the whistle.
Well, Dave Williams, who's their bad guy, along with Kurt Walker, and the Flyers, of course, Jack McIlhargey, Big Buck. They just left the calling card right there.
Both clubs are here to play tonight. Naturally, tensions are a little bit. Toronto has to win tonight or they're out, so Williams, particularly being at home here, he'll try to express himself a little bit.
I like your use of terminology, Mr. Lindsay. Express yourself. Face-off to the left of Perron. Quick whistle. Face-off circle violation. We'll try it once more. Flyers going with Clark, Barber, Leach, Jim Watson, Jack McIlhargey. Red Kelly has Valaket, Williams, Boutet up front with Turnbull and Salming at defense. This is to the left of Perron. Draw handle by Clark to Jim Watson. Double team, broke it up, gets it up on the left wing. Barber taps it by Salming to center ice, but over covering up nicely was Turnbull. Rattles one off his left wing boards, but taken right back by Clark. To Leach. Give and go to Clark. Clark can't keep the puck in the zone. Offside delay is being called, but Turnbull gets it out to center ice. Clark across the way on his left wing is bumped and bumped again. Barber trying to get control right in front of the Flyers bench. Barber knocks it ahead with his glove hand. Broken up by Salming, and Toronto gets control. Back comes Turnbull out of his own end to center ice. Turnbull across the Flyers line, and offside is called against Toronto.
Collector memento of the Flyers' great repeat. Highlights of the Flyers' 75 Stanley Cup triumph, perpetrated in handcrafted Armatel plates. 4 new plates, each depicting a highlight of the 1975 playoff series. Plate number 1, Toronto. Plate number 2, Islanders. Number 3, Buffalo. Number 4, the Cup. Just send $25 plus 6% sales tax in Pennsylvania for each plate to Champion Publications and Novelties. Post Office Box 2429, Philadelphia. The zip code 19147.
Off the face-off, Toronto's Rod Sealing winds it around the Flyers' left wing boards, comes out the far side. Collision between DuPont and Garland goes down. Bridgman through center ice. Right wing pass, good enough, but offside was Gary Dornhofer, anticipating the lead pass to him, and instead it went off the left wing boards and force the offside whistle.
Here's a guy the Flyers could certainly use, Rick McLeish, who's seated on the far side to the right of the Flyers' oral surgeon, Ev Borghezani.
I would imagine, Gene, that the Flyer fans would love to see him as well as his teammates out there in that uniform. He's tremendously lost with his great speed, also at killing penalties, helping Clark in that area.
Face-off control by Sealing up to center ice. Here comes George Ferguson trying to go wide of DuPont. Goes behind the Flyers net, but leaves the puck in his wake and is picked up by DuPont. Up to Bridgman, left wing at center. Bridgman flips it to the Toronto right wing corner. Eludes the outstretched goaltender stick of Thomas. Dornhofer overskated and is back to the Flyer zone to our left. Perrant slides out, but back to pick it up is Moose DuPont. Hits Bridgman at his own line. Bridgman skated out the puck, but gets it right back again as McDonald checked him. Bridgman trying to penetrate, stopped by Claire Alexander, and here come the Leafs. Alexander from outside the line, wide to the far side, comes to the Flyers' right wing. Good enough up to center for Gary Dornhofer. Dorney goes caddy corner to the left wing corner boards in the Toronto zone. Selesky and Salming battle for it. Tied up against the Toronto backboards for face-off. We've got 15-11 to go in first period play. There's no score.
The All-Star Hockey Camp starts its 5th big season on June 21st, and you can be there with me. Hi, I'm Mike Nicolak, assistant coach of the Flyers. Rustler Steakhouse is having a contest. They will give 2 youngsters a free week at the All-Star Hockey Camp, plus $200 worth of NHL equipment. Don Selesky, Bob Kelly, and other Flyers will be there. And there are 100 other prizes. To enter, visit your nearby Rustler Steakhouse and fill out a contest blank before May 31st. That's the All-Star Hockey Camp contest from Rustler Steakhouse.
It was 50 degrees in Toronto today, so this building is a lot cooler tonight, which is going to be a factor in the play.
Okay, we're going to have the face-off to the right of Thomas after that stoppage. Kindrachuk against Sittler. Kindrachuk drives, scores! Kindrachuk for a case of tasty cake, unassisted off the face-off to the far corner.
What we mentioned about Kindrachuk earlier, Gene, he amazes me. He completely, look right here, takes that puck away from Sittler on the face-off, put it right along the ice, inside the post, on the far side. Again, looking at it from the face-off, very alertly, wrists that puck very quickly along the ice. Flyers go ahead 1-0.
Off the face-off, Kindrachuk rattles it off the left wing corner boards, gets another drive off. This time Thomas makes the save from deep on the far boards. Puck comes back to center ice along the near side. Schultz dumped by Earl Thompson. The puck is beneath him, forcing a face-off at center ice.
Ted Lindsay, the mistake here with the Leafs playing the puck instead of the man?
Right here, yes. And even that defenseman wasn't over far enough to protect from that, to give his centerman a chance. That was Turnbull.
Turnbull.
Kindrachuk's 3rd series goal. He's got 7 assists to go with it to lead the club in points. Puck loose in the Flyers, and Selesky dumps it back to center ice. It'll be picked up there by Turnbull. Puts it back in wide and high of Perrant. McDonald in the right wing corner overskates it. Watson up to Kindrachuk. Off the left wing board, Schultz at center ice. From the red line, around the Toronto boards, Thomas will leave it there for Turnbull behind the Leafs net. Turnbull starts out amidst the Flyers line change. He's at center ice on the left wing, trying to get by Clark. Gets into the Flyers zone to the left wing corner, but McIlhargey's there to pick up the loose puck and back pass to Clark up to Leach on the right wing. And here comes McIlhargey. Right wing at center, dumps it in the Toronto zone, but it's returned back to center ice by Salmon. Clark almost spun off the puck by Sittler. Here's Clark across the line. Leach is going to get a drive. Glove save, and Clark dumped in front of Wayne Thomas. There's going to be a Toronto penalty. Let's see who it's going to be against.
Should be the Sittler, I would think, Don. I think Sittler's a little upset from the fact that Kindrachuk got that puck away from him on the faceoff. He didn't want Clark to get in there on Leach's rebound. And Bobby was right on that doorstep.
With 13:55 remaining first period, Flyers 1, Leafs no score.
Oh, let's all have a tasty cake and have a lot of fun. And let's all have a lot of fruit with fruity tutti tasty cake pies. Apples, peaches, blueberries, cherries. Tasty cake is all the good things wrapped up in one.
Our first penalty of the game comes when Sittler was caught hooking Bobby Clark at 6:05, and the Flyers have the power play out there. Sittler 17 minutes on the year.
Face off to the left of Thomas. Clark against Jack Valaquette. The draw. Clark tried to get it to Leach, but interfering was a Leach stick, and it split the length of the ice, and the Flyers will regroup behind their own net. Bill Barber has it. To my recollection, this is the first time in the series, without even looking at my score sheets, that the Flyers have had the first power play. Good enough, up to center ice. Goes right wing for Clark. He'll be offside, and there's the whistle as he touches up against the back checking of Lanny McDonald along the near side.
Flyer power plays are 3 for 12. As the Flyers president governor is Ed Snyder here. Governor and owner.
Face-off control by the Flyers. Good enough down the right wing boards. Around behind the net. Thomas leaves it there for Salming, and Salming clears around the near side, the length of the ice. Barat will leave it there for Larry Goodenough. Forechecking is Jack Valaquette, and back come the Flyers. Up on the right side to Kindrachuk, still in the Flyers' end. He's at center ice. Cutting to the right wing is Leach. Has to put the brakes on. Kindrachuk goes around Salming to the left wing corner. In to help out is Clark. Clark digs it loose, but too far, right on the stick of Valaquette, and he sends it the length of the ice. 1:07 left on Sittler's penalty. Flyers lead 1-0. Kindrachuk's third series goal. He's got 8 points thus far in this playoff round. Here's Lonsbury going to the right wing corner boards. Bridgman will try to dig it out against the back checking of George Ferguson. And it's whistled down for a face-off. It'll be in the circle to the left of Wayne Thomas in the Toronto net.
Admiral Travel, the can-do agency at 1600 Walnut Street at the corner of Walnut. Their telephone number 985-9500. When you open the door, the world opens to you at Admiral Travel. No matter where you want to go, the best way with the best memories at the best price in the best way possible. Remember, Admiral Travel, the people who fly the Flyers. We're going to say the Flyer power plays 3 for 12, the Leafs 9 for 38. And again, we want to clarify Ed Snyder, the Flyer chairman of the board and governor of the Philadelphia Hockey Club, and salute the Flyers president, Joe Scott.
Mel Bridgman on the face-off with Ferguson. This is to the left of Thomas. Puck rolls in front, loose. Cleared by Sealing, but not out. Bladen goes to the left wing corner. Bridgman and Salming go for it. They bump hard. Lonsbury in to help out, but Salming's got it tied up in the left wing corner. Face-off this time will be to the right of Wayne Thomas as he looks at it play.
Ted, both Turnbull and Salming will play together. Great skaters, great puck carriers, and I wonder why they don't split them so that Turnbull would be on that second unit with Sealing and the other youngster who don't carry the puck out so well.
I think, Gene, it'll give them a better opportunity to move the puck, more offensive power against the opposition.
Flyers lose Mel Bridgman on a face-off circle violation. Lonsbury draws it, but it's picked up by Ferguson, broken up by DuPont, but here comes Turnbull. Turnbull up through center ice on the left wing across the Flyers line. Has trouble with the puck, gets by Bladen, though, behind the net. Goes out to Salming at the right point. Dornhofer taps it by him to center ice, picked up by Turnbull. 22 seconds left on Sittler's penalty. Back deep in the Toronto zone goes Salming. Left side, Turnbull looks for an opening and sends it caddy corner to the far side of the ice, and the Flyers' defensive left wing corner picked up there by Moose DuPont. 5 seconds and Sittler will be back for the Leafs. DuPont slowly up to center ice, goes right wing corner. Thomas will corral it, hops over his stick. Bridgman in front, but gloved as Thomas had to reverse corrections from left to right in a hurry.
I think Mel's upset because he wanted to come out and stuff, but lost it off the end of his stick and rolled out to the goaler.
He just reached a little bit too far. He didn't have his balance good, and he couldn't make that Bobby Clark play. He saw that open corner, and he'll be mad at himself now because he could have had himself an easy goal as Thomas was a little careless in behind his net.
Not much vigor in that Flyer power play, Ted Lindsay.
No, of course, the only time that they had anything going was at the start with Clark out there with Leach and Barber, but then after that, there's Bridgman. Maybe that's why Genie missed that. He probably got hit in the mouth and was stinging just a little bit.
In the island, in the first period, Jude Ruin gave the Islanders a 1-0 lead over Sabres.
Flyers going with Chris Selesky and Schultz against Scott Garland now at center, Stan Weir and Bob Neely. Alexander, the far side of the rink, gets it to center ice. Jimmy Watson tied up by Stan Weir, along with Scott Garland, Claire Alexander, and Dave Schultz. Face-off will be in neutral ice.
Again, if the Islanders win that game, it's all over, and they lead at 1-0 on the goal by Jude Bruin. Buffalo won the first, the Islanders the next three, and they're going to be murder in their own building.
Crisp against Weir outside the Toronto line. Crisp draws it back to Jim Watson. Watson looks for the opening, goes right wing corner, skips behind the net where Thomas reverses it near side. Selesky overskated it, digs for it now against the double teaming of Bob Neely and Rod Sealing. We finally get a whistle by Wally Harris. Face-off will be in the circle to the left of Thomas. 1-0 Flyers on Kindrachuk's third series goal.
One half of Smithers, British Columbia, great defensive team. Jimmy Watson along with his brother Joe. And Flyers making use of Crisp and Kelly and Schultz and the like. More manpower on the ice, and Red Kelly's going to have to retaliate to keep his club fresh.
On the face-off, it's Rod Sealing controlling. Takes it behind his own net from the near side of the ring. Starts right. Now starts, comes left. Off the left wing boards to center ice, picked up by Jim Watson. Waits for Crisp to clear, but puts it right on the stick of Sealing coming out. Crisp almost a breakaway setup. Stan Weir on the right wing side of the Flyers zone. Taken to the backboard, centering pass. Picked up now by Scott Garland. Back to Sealing. Shot off the stick arm. We have a penalty coming up against the Flyers, and I believe it's going to be McElhargy for hooking.
With 11:02 remaining first period, Flyers 1, Toronto nothing.
The whole team now! If we can do it, nobody can. No fun, no price, and pride. Making friends, make brand new friends. So hurry down and see. Meet the big red team at A&P.
They're terrific.
We're the big red team at A&P.
What a team.
On the penalty, McElhargy right here, hooking
Neely.
Looks like Neely, yes, number 3, Neely. And it'll give Toronto the opportunity for the power play, being behind 1-0. And in this Flyers series, they have been very potent on that power play. And this is the one thing that the Flyers will have to stop if they hope to eliminate them tonight.
9 for 38 on the power play. 38 opportunities in 5 games plus.
Stan Weir stays on the face-off with Garland and Neely. The draw goes back to Alexander. Now to Turnbull at the left point. Throw a screen, knocked down by the glove hand of DuPont. Moves ahead for Barber. We have a 2-on-1 with Bobby Clark breaking across the line. Tried to return it to Barber, but reading it nicely was Alexander, and back from the lead. Alexander across the line, but we have a penalty coming up on Bobby Clark. It'll be Bobby Clark on the delay whistle finally called, and it's going to be a hook against Clark at 9:20.
No question about that, Ted.
No, it was a bad penalty for Bobby. He's very unhappy with himself. Here, we'll take a look at it. Right here, he puts a real good hook on Alexander. Wally Harris called it very well. And actually, Gene, there was no whistle. It was a slow whistle, and everybody stopped. But Harris or neither of the linesmen blew the whistle, but everybody stopped, and that did end the play.
Well, the Leafs have been skating pretty well this parade, but were struck by this early goal by Kindrachuk. Now have a 2-man advantage for 1:38, and they have the number 1 penalty killer, the Flyers, off, Bobby Clark. McElhargy, 1:38 remaining on his penalty. Clark a full 2 minutes, and this is what put the Flyers in deep trouble just a week ago.
This can set the tone of the game. If the Flyers can survive this, it'll deflate the Leafs. If the Leafs can come back, it'll make it awfully tough for the Flyers.
Red Kelly goes with his big line, or at least part of it. He's got Darryl Sittler between George Ferguson. The draw back to McDonald. Left point, right point, Salmi. Back to McDonald. Tapped off his stick, but kept in by McDonald. Intercepted by DuPont, and he clears the length of the ice. Flyers down to their minimum of 3. The lone forward, Lonsbury, 4 checks against Toronto in their own end. But here comes Borja Salmi. Up to center ice. All Leafs up. Across the line first was Neely, but Salming carries in and play continues. Salming, top of the slot. Right face-off circle. A drive by Sittler, deflected in the backboards by Perron. Sittler gets his own rebound. Deflected out of the zone by Jim Watson. Flyers will get McElhargy back in 1 minute. Puck hops over the head of Sittler to the Flyers' right wing corner. Lonsbury has Ferguson wrapped up. Jimmy Watson trying to clear out. Kept in by Salming at the right point. Fakes the shot. McDonald drives. Good pad save by Perron. Knocked down by the glove hand of Sittler, and the face-off will be outside as Sittler advanced that puck with a glove hand.
Super save by Perron under a tough condition as Riley McDonald unloaded from the left side. Wally Harris, our referee. 3 penalties so far, 2 now to the Flyers. They have 40 seconds left to kill in the 2-man disadvantage.
This is a break right here. It was Sittler having batted that puck. Takes that face-off outside the blue line. Gives that defense a chance to get organized and for Fred Scherer to make a change in his penalty killers.
And the change he made, he had Kindrachuk replacing Lonsbury, and defensively Joe Watson and Tom Bladen. Salming at his own line, goes right wing at center for Sittler. He's across the line, goes deep in the right wing corner, spinning away from Joe Watson, back to Salming at the right point. Back to Sittler, right face-off circle, top of the slot, Salming. Sittler, right face-off circle, rolls it in front, shot kicked out, and score on the follow-up, and Bernie Perron is complaining about something on the follow-up shot. Maybe a leap in the crease, I don't know.
He had it in the glove and then fell back into the crease and dislodged and was a score.
Perron come out arguing with referee Harris that he had that puck gloved. Here we'll see the play. And right here, where Bernie had that puck in the glove, he felt, and then he batted it. That was his argument, that he batted the puck out of his glove. There's Sittler faking the shot. Puck comes through. There's Ferguson. Now Sittler will come in, and you'll see him bat the glove and knock that puck out of the glove into the net.
Neely did have one skate in the crease, however.
That's Sittler's first playoff goal.
There it is right there. One to one with 38 seconds to go on the penalty to Clark.
On the face-off, back on the Toronto end, Ian Turnbull. Turnbull starts out, deals it off to Salming on his right to center ice. Right wing pass, Sittler across the line, gets around Jim Watson. Centering pass right in the slot, picked out by Selesky. The Bird up to center ice on the left wing, just rolls the backhander to the Toronto left wing corner. Clark will be out in 12 seconds. Salming from behind his own net. Game is tied at 1. Here comes Sittler through center ice, across the line to McDonald. His drive, short side save for Hunt. Now it's Bill Barber along the near side, off the right wing boards for Selesky. He's tied up, can't clear it out. Salming double team to knock down as Clark is back. Centering pass in front. Puck is kicked out by Perron. Turnbull from point blank range. As the Flyers went to sleep defensively right there, and it almost cost them. Selesky gives the puck away, but in turn, McDonald gives it away, and it's clear the length of the ice. And now Thomas deals it ahead for Salming. Intercepted by Leach. He's across the line. On the backhander, kicked out by Thomas. Puck is behind the Toronto net. Boutet and Leach up high with the stick. Puck is finally tied up on the rebound by Wayne Thomas as Dave Williams and Bob Kelly look at each other.
And the Leafs got a little careless in their own right, and that pass picked off by Leach. Had he been able to control, he's in all alone. As it were, just an easy backhand save by Wayne Thomas. 8:04 remaining first period. We're tied at 1.
You want to get the most out of your money? Stick with a real winner. Girard Bank's Big G account. You get a complete package of 8 great banking services just for keeping $200 in a Big G 5% savings account. So you score every day on your savings. Sure, you can bounce around to every bank in town, but Girard's Big G account can't be beat. For free checking plus all the banking services you'll probably ever need, get the Big G account at Girard. Other banks just don't have it.
The official on that Leafs goal, Sittler is first, Salming and Ferguson the assist. Power play goal at 10:42.
And for the Leafs, their 10th overall out of 39 opportunities. Face off to the right of Thomas. Puck cleared the length of the ice. While it won't go the length, it'll be caught up to by Bladen. Turns and throws it off the right wing boards, picked up by Leach. Through center ice. Leach across the line on the left. Gets around Alexander. Centering pass picked off right in front of Thomas by Seelig. Right wing, Boutet ahead to Valaket. Through center ice. Valaket broken up, and Kelly's going to be going off for slashing. And again, it's a Toronto power play opportunity.
Bob Kelly's going to go off for a slash. And again, a useless penalty, and the Flyers don't seem to learn their lesson here.
Alexander going no place at all. He was going to have to shoot that puck. Right here you'll see Kelly just needlessly laying that lumber on, as the vernacular we use. And now we'll have to have that penalty killing of brings Clark and Barber back out there. And where this really hurts, Gene, is that when the Flyers do get the opportunity offensively, they lose just a little bit of that edge having to kill these penalties.
Right, and again, if, good penalties, you accept stopping a play, but Clark got Borja Salming when the Flyers were already one down, and that led to the Leafs' goal. Now they're shorthanded again, just moments after they killed penalties to McIlhargey and Clark. Whether it's frustration in this building, but they've hurt themselves. The Leafs have only had 3 even-strength goals out of the 13 they've scored against the Flyers. So their biggest weapon has been Flyer penalties.
That should be their message right there, to stay out of that penalty box. We have a little bit of an ice repair just inside the Flyers' blue line. Claude Bouchard just finishing it all up, and now we're back to play. Don?
Okay, Ted Lindsay, it's going to be Bobby Clark and Bill Barber, the penalty-killing forwards, against Stan Weir between Scott Garland and Bob Neely up front. The draw goes to the far side of the rink. It'll be Moose DuPont. Oh, he and Scott Garland again collide. Stan Weir digs it loose. Kept in by Salming. A correction to Claire Alexander to the Flyers' backboard. Left wing corner, Neely back to Turnbull. Short side save from Weir as Toronto is moving the puck smartly. Left wing corner, Neely. Neely looks. Left point, Turnbull. His drive, tip-in attempt in front by Weir goes wide. Claire Alexander shot way wide. It'll be picked up by Clark. And here comes Goodenough breaking with Clark, along with Barber. Clark, right wing. Goes behind the net. Still controls left wing corner. Tried to hit Barber, but it's picked off by Weir. Weir caught up to by Clark and broken up, and DuPont clears it back to the Toronto zone along the near side. 1:12 left on Kelly's penalty as Claire Alexander winds up from behind his down by his own net. Comes to the Flyers line, bumped off the puck, and back comes Kindrachuk with Selesky. Kindrachuk to Selesky. The drive. Loose puck, score. No, let's see. No goal by Wally Harris. He waves it off.
Well, they say he kicked it in, but he was pushed into the net by the Leaf defender.
He was tripped and lost his balance by the Leaf player. If he had stood up and kicked it, it would have been disallowed. I think Wally Harris might have been screened a little bit. Here we'll look. A good pass by Kindrachuk. Selesky shoots. The puck goes through Thomas's legs. And here we'll see Kindrachuk having his feet taken out by Alexander. It's a questionable thing there, and Wally Harris called it against the Flyers. Here again, watch Alexander. Well, it looked like he was trying to keep his balance on that play, Gene.
So it stays tied 1-1. 53 seconds left on the penalty to Kelly. Almost a shorthanded goal by Don Selesky or Kindrachuk, but it was neither. Turnbull rags the puck in his own zone, crosses to Salming, who skates to the near side, the left wing side, then crosses to Sittler, who taps it to McDonald, broken up by Selesky. Selesky gets to the puck, and he's taken down as he takes Thompson down. Puck in the left wing corner, picked up by McDonald, and here comes Borja Salming to center ice. Salming to the Flyers line, Sittler the trailer, but Salming goes left wing boards, bounces it off the Flyer backboards. Sittler tried to hit McDonald, hits Turnbull wide short side. Selesky will pick up the loose puck across the way. Can't clear out around Thompson. Pass goes to Sittler. Blocked off by Kindrachuk. Sittler gets it back. Shot blocked by Kindrachuk. McDonald shot kicked out by Perron. 3 seconds. 2-1, and Kelly is back. McDonald in the right wing corner behind the Flyers net to the near side. Bladen trying to hit Kelly with a pass. Intercepted by Turnbull. Puck knocked loose by Thompson. Thompson deflects it back to his own zone. Crosses to Lanny McDonald. Bumped by Kelly. Puck comes back in. Down the slot. Thomas comes up to meet it. And leaves it for Salming, who crosses for Turnbull. At center ice, Bridgman. Broken up, but it's Jim Watson winding it around the left wing boards. Thomas leaves it behind the net for Salming. Just over 5 minutes left in first period play. Tie score 1-1. Sittler bumped by McIlhargey. Back comes Jim Watson through center ice. Spun around by Brian Glennie, who was taking his first shift in a couple of games. And the puck is sent back to the Flyers' end. McIlhargey up to center ice, but returned by Dave Williams. Jim Watson shakes Jack Balaket, goes behind the Flyers' net, comes up the left wing to center ice. Jim Watson kicked into the zone by Bridgman, and here's Dornhofer controlling, goes left wing, holds, tries to hit Bridgman with a pass. Bridgman fans on his pass into the corner. Now Lansbury has it, left face-off circle, rolls it in front, glove save, and Thomas ties it up. We've got 4:28 left in the first period. The score is tied 1-1.
Geno's, the people who give you freedom of choice on delicious burgers and Kentucky Fried Chicken, now have a special deal for hockey fans. With the purchase of any Geno sandwich or Kentucky Fried Chicken product, you can take home this Bobby Clark autographed pen and pencil set for just 75 cents plus tax while supplies last. Come to Geno's this week. Enjoy Geno's great burgers or Kentucky Fried Chicken and this nifty pen and pencil set for just 75 cents plus tax. Geno's gives you freedom of choice.
1-1 the score here in the first period. Gene Hart along with Ted Lindsay and Don Earl.
Bill Bridgman facing off against George Ferguson to the right of Thomas. Leaves control. Sealing trying to shake Bridgman's check. Up on the far side of the rink, Garland trying to get away from Lonsbury. Bridgman double teams him. Puck comes loose. Cleared to center ice by Ferguson. Bridgman battles for it and gets it back. Loses in the process. Glennie hits Ferguson. Now a 2-on-2. Glennie across the line trying to turn DuPont. Centering pass blocked by the skate of DuPont. Back to help out Dornhofer. Takes it behind his own net. Dornhofer up to center ice. Dorney throws it into Bridgman. Bridgman can't find the handle. Puck gets by DuPont at the line. Picked up by Goodenough, who covered nicely for him. Crosses to Dornhofer on the near side. Up to Bridgman. Bridgman bumped. And correction, Lonsbury bumped, double teamed, and it's back at the Flyers end. Dornhofer leaves it for Goodenough. Goodenough out of his own end, gets by Ferguson. From the red line, throws it in, but the Leafs are blocking a lot of passes at the line. Salming wheels out of his own end. Clark back on for the Flyers, bumps into his own man, Bob Neely. Neely throws the backhander into the Flyers zone. Leach ahead for Clark at center. Clark trying to get around Boutet, goes left wing corner. Boutet slashes at Clark, and he's going to be going off. It's going to be a high stick on Pat Boutet at 16:49, and the Flyers get their second power play chance of the period.
I don't think there's any question about that penalty, as Boutet gave it to him twice, once before they hit the blue line and once into the zone along the left wing boards.
This is the handicap that a player is aggressive as Clark. Here we'll see right there's the slash. Could have given it to him for that. Could have given it to him for hooking right there. But Clark, who's so aggressive, referees a lot of times overlook what players do to him. They feel that he deserves it, that he's given it out quite a bit. But this is the unfortunate part about refereeing. They don't look at the infraction. They look at the player a lot of times.
Well, the Flyers were not too strong on the one power play they've had in this game with Sittler off. They're now 3 for 13 as Fred Sherrill looks on it. Since the Leafs are burning them, the Flyers got to retaliate and start picking up some power play goals and make the Leafs pay for their penalty mistakes.
They were just absolutely helpless and hopeless on that first power play, Gene. Anything this time will be better, and let's hope it's good.
On the season, Pat Boutet racked up only 133 penalty minutes, but that was enough to earn him second spot on the Leafs next to Dave Williams. Off the faceoff, puck cleared by Salming the length of the ice. And has he been a tower of strength for this Leaf team in the playoffs? Lead pass up on the right wing. Bladen to Kindrachuk, back to Bladen, coming to center. Bladen rolls it to the right wing corner, going for the rebound. Bladen along with Valaket, they both hit the backboard. Salming gets loose, and he clears it over everyone as Barber leaps high in the air at the blue line, trying to keep the puck in the zone, couldn't do it. Perrant sends it up to Kindrachuk, who reverses it to Leach, who'll swing behind his own net. Leach picks up speed as he comes out from behind the net. Up to center ice. Leach hits the red line, throws it to the right wing corner. Again, it's Kindrachuk and Valaket. Loose puck behind the Toronto net, knocked loose again by Salming. Salming again clears it to center ice as Clark tried to contain him. Leach loses the puck to McDonald across the Flyers line on the right wing. Turns Bladen. Bladen ties him up in the far corner. Centering pass picked off by Kindrachuk. Had there been a Leaf there, Perrant would have had trouble. Kindrachuk to center ice. Lead pass as he tried to spring Leach through. He was held by Salming. Puck cleared to center ice by Wayne Thomas. And now it's Goodenough with 45 seconds left in Boutet's penalty. Goodenough almost coughed up the puck to George Ferguson. Goodenough through center ice. Stopped at the line again, this time by Turnbull. Turnbull with Ferguson breaking. Ferguson across to Thompson. The backhanded score, and Leafs take a 3-2 lead. Tied a 3-1 lead on a a short-handed goal by Errol Thompson, the backhander.
Flyers have been asking for that, Ted. They've been very careless, and they've been giving the puck away, shooting it in on Leaf players, and that time it cost them.
Here's the puck, and the pass over to Thomas, and on a backhand shot on the long side, beats Perrant. Another look at it. Here's the drop pass, and the puck from Ferguson goes over to Thomas right here, and the backhand on the long side. The Leafs go ahead 2-1 on a shorthanded goal with 28 seconds to go.
Turnbull gets one of the assists. Flyers still on the power play with 18 seconds left. The score is 2-1 Leafs. Puck kept in on the left wing by DuPont. Bridgman battles Thompson for it. And it's tied up for a face-off. It'll be in the circle to the right of Thomas, as the Flyers' frustrations are beginning to show early tonight.
On the power play, they're, as you mentioned, Gene, they're very careless. Here again is a look at that goal, which puts the Leaf ahead. Ferguson passing that puck over to Thompson, who on the backhand beats Perrant on the long side. And on the power play, the Flyers are just not skating, and they're not moving that puck. It's looking, one man takes it and tries to see what he can do. It's not a team effort.
Draws it back to DuPont. A shot deflected to the glass behind Thomas. Comes to the right wing side. A drive by Goodenough. Crisp shot deflected to the backboard as he had the near side. Couldn't find it. Back to the left point. DuPont, the drive through a screen, kicked out. The Leafs back at full strength. Boutet checks Selesky. Puck flipped into the zone, but way offside. Three of the Flyers still in the zone, and they're going to face off the puck deep in the Flyers' end.
Well, at least that time they got some action on the Leaf net as Selesky got a good pop in there. On the Flyers, just not the take charge bunch. They just seem to have the willies here in Toronto, and you just don't know if it's a residue of last week's Hubruha.
Here again is the save, and here, Chris, that puck hit the defenseman's leg and went up wide of the net. Crisp had a good shot at that open net as Thomas was down.
Rod Sealing just getting that right leg out in the right spot at the right time, but that puck was in. Terry Crisp a bit dismayed as we're down to 58 seconds left in first period play. Stan Weir against Crisp to the right of Perrant. Face-off circle violation by both Neely and Selesky. Face-off comes back to the near side. Selesky tied up by Neely, who has a hold of his stick, and down they both go. The puck is beneath them. Face-off again in that same circle, and maybe to the top of the circle.
Rod Sealing, former Ranger, Don Selesky on ice, and the face-off comes to neutral zone. I would think right now you could say the difference, the Leafs skating with more confidence than the Flyers. And they've been wheeling pretty well in this period, even though the score is only 2-1.
Face-off control by the Leafs. Stan Weir flips the backhander to the Flyers' right wing corner. Jim Watson chases it down behind the net. Keeps it on its way to the right wing corner. The near side for Tom Bladen. Bladen goes left side for Jim Watson, who's at center. Goes to the Toronto right wing corner. Caroms to Thomas, picked up by Bob Neely. Neely loses the puck as Schultz falls down, picked up by Sealing. He finds daylight, deals it off to Weir. Weir uses Sealing as a screen. Return pass Neely from the Flyers' blue line. Glove save on his drive on Perrant. Jim Watson will try one more time. This time it caroms off the left wing boards all the way in on Thomas. He leaves it for Brian Glennie. 7 seconds left in the period. To Scott Garland as Schultz and Glennie almost went. And Schultz was creased by the stick of Brian Glennie across the head.
Well, Dave's saying he's been cut. Wally Harris looks, and of course, if you draw blood on a penalty like that, it could be 5 minutes.
Wally Harris went over to take a look at it, but apparently he said no.
Gene, I think it's going to be a 5-minute major called on Glennie.
Well, he put 5 fingers up, Don, and I wasn't sure whether he was saying no or whether he was saying just 2 minutes or no 5 minutes. But well,
everybody's looking up at the scoreboard now to see what flashes up.
Toronto got a 5 minutes.
5.
But Gene, that hasn't been good for we Flyers. They haven't made too good use of that power play. As a matter of fact, it cost them a goal.
Ed Snyder again, the Flyers chairman of the board, looking on. And 3 seconds remain in the period, so nothing will happen here probably except the face-off. But after 2 minutes go by in period number 2, the Flyers will have an unwashable 3-minute advantage on the major to Glennie.
So 3 seconds is all that remains of this period. As Gene pointed out, the Flyers won't get the advantage of the full power play, again barring anything additional in the interim, until after Schultz's penalty has been served, which will give them a 3-minute man advantage. Face-off will be inside the Toronto line. Malaket against Clark. So apparently Glennie did draw blood, and he'll sit out the full 5 regardless. Face-off comes to the Flyers' left wing boards at center as time runs out here in the first period of play with a score. Toronto 2 and the Flyers 1.
I flew in from Texas for the bicentennial. My luggage flew into Boston. I was staying with my cousin out in Jenkintown. First thing he did was take me out to a shopping center to buy some clothes. And those shopping centers are strictly 6-suit territory, no selection. You got to do better than that, I told him. He took me to Boyd's in Philadelphia. What a men's store. I'll be danged if I didn't see 100 suits in my size. I bought this one at Boyd's. Want to see the other 99?
Come back to Philadelphia. Come to Boyd's.
Close your eyes, open your mouth, and feel it. New Abbott's ice cream feels so smooth and creamy. So smooth and creamy. So creamy. Abbott's new smooth and creamy ice cream. It feels so good.
I can be very friendly, yes I can. Catch you with kindness, that's my plan. 'Cause you know the way things are. I need every car. I can be very friendly, yes I can.
7 out of 10 cars on the road today can use my Sunoco 190. It's made to sell below regular. Look, I wouldn't want to let my customers spend more money than they have to.
It's my best motor oil, Sunoco Special. Heck, you can take this 10W40 grade, do a lot of hard driving, and it'll stay a 40 grade.
Give you every courtesy, that's what friendly is to me. I can be very friendly, yes I can. I can be very friendly, yes I can. I can be very friendly,
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, Gene Hart along with Ted Lindsay, Hall of Famer with the Detroit Red Wings, and our partner Don Earl. 2-1 Leafs after the first period. And I guess if you asked me to sum up that period in one word, it would be penalties. What the Flyers aren't doing with Leafs and what the Leafs are doing when the Flyers have the edge.
This is right, Gene. What they're going to have to do, the Flyers, if they hope to win and end this series tonight, they have to turn it around completely. On the power play, it's one man taking it, trying to go. The Leafs are lining up in that blue line, and even some of the times the Flyers aren't even getting the puck by the defenseman. This is consequently getting their wingmen trapped. They're not moving up the ice with authority or with any speed, and they're making a few errors right around their blue line handling that puck.
Shots were 13-11 for the Leafs, but the Leafs had much the better opportunities, and they've really been skating free and tested Bernie Parent much better on their 13 than the Flyers did with their 11 against Wayne Thomas.
I would have to say that Bernie came up with 5 sensational stops that could have been goals, additional goals for the Leafs in that first period. He certainly seems to have gotten his sharpness back after his injury and after his operation.
Let's tell you what the stats were. It was Kindrachuk getting the first goal and a fine play off the draw to the left of Wayne Thomas. They put it in at 4:52 a second, but then with McIllargy off serving a hooking penalty, Sittler scored from Salming and Ferguson at 10:42. And then with Boutet off at 16:49, Errol Thompson is third of the playoffs, all against the Flyers from Turnbull and Ferguson on the shorthanded at 18:21. But the Flyers have Dave Schultz in the box for another minute and 57. Glennie picked up a major for high sticking and cutting Schultz on that same penalty.
So after 1 minute and 57 seconds of the second period, the Flyers will have a 3-minute uncancelable power play, and that right there could be the difference.
Well, they'll have to change, as I mentioned earlier, they'll have to change their power play to what it has been in this Toronto series, Gene.
Our intermission activities will continue after this.
French wine. Huh. Who needs it? Let the Swiss keep their cheese and watches. Me, I'm American all the way. That's why I brought my Datsun to EMCO.
Sure, we can work on most foreign transmissions. Don't be surprised with the nice little extras at AMCO. We've serviced 4 million transmissions. We do things right. AA, MCO.
Hey, buddy! Any place around here I get some good Chinese food?
I want a beer like no other beer. I'm Schaefer people.
My Schaefer's a consistent winner every time. For over 130 years, Schaefer's been brewed twice, the old world way. Croissant, they call it. It's an extra step that gives Schaefer a consistently crisp, fresh taste. Hey, Schaefer! So go for a Schaefer. You'll be Schaefer people, too.
Go out and get a Schaefer and be Schaefer people too.
Hat Trick special collector's item. The set of 5 1976 Flyer publications. The Fact Book with a trophy case cover. The Flyers calendar with a Kennedy Stadium salute. The yearbook with Bobby Clark and the Hart Trophy. The Love Book with Bernie and Bobby in Buffalo. And the headline book, The Flyers Do It Again, $10.50 value, just $5 at the Spectrum, $5.95 by mail. Send your orders to Championship Publications, Box 2429, Philadelphia, the zip 19147.
You know, these days, you got to make every dollar count. O.J. Simpson for Hertz. You know, superstar in rent-a-car means more than just dependability.
And fast service.
It means coming up with a whole new package of rates. Super Saver rates. For example, you can get a Ford Pinto for only $13.95 a day. Any day, plus gas.
And there's no charge for mileage.
Right. No charge for mileage. Find out how you can save. Call Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car.
Well, Borje Salming made his first mistake in the series in Game 5 at Philadelphia on Tuesday, and it led to the Flyers' record-setting for their team 7-goal performance and a victory 7-1, defeating the Leafs and moving up 3 games to 2 in the set. The tenor of Game 5 was set in the first 3 minutes when Tommy Bladon and Dave Williams went at it along the side boards. Eventually, they picked up penalties, but it proved that neither team was going to take a backward step despite the problems in Toronto. After those two were sent off, Bladon and Williams, Bobby Clark received the announcement that he had been selected by the Sporting News as Hockey Player of the Year. And he celebrated it just moments later, 35 seconds to be exact, by setting up Billy Barber in front of the net, who scored after a Reggie Leach rebound right here through Wayne Thomas's pads. And then the big explosion in the second period, finishing off as Salming fell down, allowing Don Zaleski to go in on a breakaway with the first of his 3 goals. Right here, and he beat Wayne Thomas handily, and it was 2-0 Philadelphia. But that 2-goal lead lasted just a half a minute as number 3, Bob Neely, came in from Perron's right to bang it off Bernie's pads to make it 2-1. But Gary Dornhofer, his 3rd playoff goal in his ever-popular position, right in front of Wayne Thomas, right there on the shot by Goodenough, and went into the long side, and the Flyers led 3-1. Moments later, Zaleski slapped it in off Thomas's pads from the short side to make it 4-1 as the Flyers and Leafs picked up 4 goals in 1 minute and 33 seconds. That's a playoff record for 4 goals in the fastest time by 2 teams. Then in the 3rd period, Zaleski made it his hat trick by converting a pass from Oris Kindrachuk, deflecting off Neely, and the bird went wild. The 53rd player ever to do that in the National Hockey League Stanley Cup playoffs, and the 3rd Flyer, and then Reggie Leach on a great setup from Terry Crisp behind the net, got the first of his 2 last period goals right there. And moments later, on a rebound play again from Crisp, as he was alone in front, to backhand it under Wayne Thomas to make it 7-1 Philadelphia. And it's just another game, and the Leafs lost it, but certainly the manner in which they were pounded has to bear fruit in this Game 6 here tonight. That's pretty much the story with our recap of Tuesday night's game. The Flyers winning 7-1. Again, Don Zaleski, just the 53rd player ever to post the 3-goal hat trick in Stanley Cup play. The Flyers 7 goals for them, a team record. We'll be back as our intermission activities will continue after this.
If you don't always take the time to eat right, Dannon yogurt is the right thing to eat. Dannon supplies many of the nutrients your body needs. And one taste tells you why our yogurt cultures were the ones that created a whole culture of yogurt lovers. Dannon all-natural yogurt. If you don't always eat right, it's the right thing to eat.
You're into the good years now, and the best is yet to be. There's a world you haven't seen yet, and now you see it in style. A Coachman fifth wheel is the perfect way to bring your doorstep to the world. It's a complete, comfortable home built with care and craftsmanship. Trouble-free interiors add leisure time wherever you go. These are the good years, and you're making them better. You've surrounded yourself with value with a Coachman.
Visit Stone's Camping World, Berlin, and Dave's Sporting Goods, Doylestown.
Franco Harris, Pittsburgh Steelers.
The harder the competition, the harder you have to play.
Gary Hansen, TWA.
TWA is up against more competition than any other airline. So to get you to fly with us, we have to be better.
Rick Barry, Golden State Warriors.
What makes a winning team? Competitive spirit.
Captain Davis, TWA.
This team, they've got a lot of competitive spirit. That's why TWA is out to be the best on-time airline in the business.
Nolan Ryan, California Angels.
Keep coming up with something new. That's how you stay ahead.
Laura Kulak, TWA.
Only TWA gives you your choice of movies, plus something new. Sports films on all movie flights.
If you want to stay on top, you have to be better.
The TWA, being the best isn't everything. It's the only thing.